Okay, now we're going to check out audio phrases. I'll press audio phrase, and now the audio phrase window. Now here in the audio phrase window, we have pad bank 1. And on pad bank 1, we see we have our first sample, which is main, main 2, and we got hook 1, hook 2, and a chorus, chorus 2, and a radio voice. You can see here, main, main. Now this is from a track called Addiction that's on the hard drive that comes with our MV8800. Now, you may want to edit a phrase one time when you're recording, like that bass line I recorded earlier, or even a vocal. Now what we do, we'll press list. And here in list, we have a list of all the audio phrases that are here on our MV8800. Now, we have level, we can edit level. We can change the playback mode, velocity, and of course our group. Well, here we can edit. Let's edit one. We'll press edit. We'll edit this group right here. Actually, we'll go down one. We'll edit hook 1. I'll press edit. And now we can see the audio phrase edit window. Now here in this window, you can do many things. For example, we can see that this is pad group 1, pad 3. It's called hook. Hit pad 3.
Let me forget my man tonight.
And I can play the sample.
Give me your love.
Now, here we have pad play, which says gate. Now what I can do, if you hold that pad 3 down.
Let me forget my man tonight. Give me your love.
It plays. You move your hand, it stops playing. We can go to trigger.
Let me
you hit it one time, it plays. It'll play to the end. Or I can hit it again, it'll stop. We can go to drum.
Let me forget my man
I hit it.
Let me
hit it again.
It
starts from the top again. It keeps going.
Let me forget
until it gets to the very end.
Give me your love.
So that was drum, trigger, and gate. Well, 3 ways to play the modes. That's for pad play mode right there. Here, this is audio phrase. This is the BPMs that this phrase is at. It's at 112 BPMs. That's what the phrase is actually at. And this X represents the view. That's just one time. That's how the entire view looks like. We can always change that view later on. Even though it's a sample, you can even go to sample edit and edit that sample again. Now here, this is the bass note. That means one note equals 36. Here in audio phrase also, we can actually change the start and the end point of our loop. We have start point, end point, we got a loop, see? We can change those, like we do in our sample edit window. Here in phrase edit, we can actually edit the phrase. You know, if you want to make it adjust to track or something, that's really cool to do. We also have our level right here. Move my cursor here. I can play the sample.
Let me forget my man.
See? I can turn the level up or down. We also have our velocity control. Either up and go on or off to control the velocity or not. We have coarse fine tune.
Let me forget my man.
So you change the pitch.
Let me forget my man. Let me forget my man.
It's very coarse.
Let me forget my man.
We can actually go to fine tune.
Let me forget my man. Let me forget my man.
So we can change the pitch of any audio phrase. We can also reverse it here. And now I'm holding it down, it's going backwards. It's just kind of a cool sound if you use it once in a while. Turn that off. We have BPM sync. Now what this allows us to do is that we can sync to any BPM once they have the actual phrase. If you even slow the speed down of a particular sample, I mean of the tuning actually, the BPM, the sample will adjust to the speed. So we can play a sample slower, it'll adjust to a slower speed. We also have the stretch type. How far you want to stretch the sample. An exclusive group. Now we also have here is sample list, sample edit, the length lock. So you can lock the length in. Just press that and you lock the length in with a length lock. You see a little length lock right there, which locks us right into the length. We can even chop this sample back up again. Let's try to go to sample list. And now we've got a list of samples you can choose from to replace in this sample. We can say, okay, one needs a different sample besides this sample. Let's say we had a different vocal we wanted to pick rather than this vocal to put in its place. You can choose it from your list of samples. I'll press exit and run to that. We also have sample edit. We can edit the current sample can be edited right here. We can edit this current sample right where it's at. Change the start point, the loop point, and the end point if we'd like to. Turn loop mode on and off, or reverse on and off. We can deal with the sample parameters. We have length lock still. Preview of the sample.
Let me forget my man.
Of course, command. I press exit and we're back in the audio phrase edit. These are the features we have to edit our audio phrases. We suggest you also read the book to learn more about it, get more in depth with how you can actually change and use audio phrases to get even more understanding of how this software works. It's important to understand because sometimes you may want to have an audio phrase that you can change the pitch with and make it stretch over a certain time, which is important to do. And we also have chop, which we showed you earlier in our sample section. Now I'll press exit and write a chop, and you can see here we can do many things to our samples. We have every command that we had earlier in the sample edit, but even more so here, because you may want to do more stuff that's already maybe in the track already, or you want to add it to the track. So we have more parameters we can actually use to control and to manipulate our samples in the audio phrase edit. Okay, now we're going to go to pattern mode. We press pattern, and we're here in pattern mode. Now if you want to get a new pattern, we can go to a blank pattern, that is. We can go to pattern list, scroll down, get an empty pattern right there. I'll go select F5, and we have a brand new pattern. We go to hit our MIDI track. Okay, now I want to set up and got me a new, brand new track. I want to get me a new sequence going on. Move the cursor down to where it says MIDI. On MIDI tracks, I record MIDI instruments. Next, I'll pick the track parameters. That's F2. It comes up with a dialog box. This one here has MIDI track 1. You can rename this track, which I'll do right now. I'll press F1. I'll name this track. I'm going to call it Kick. So I'll call it Kick. The cursor over, press my keypads, the corresponding letters, then press OK, enter. And it's called a kick track now. Next. What I want to do here next is, view control can be on. I want to assign a patch this, a patch which have, drums or something. I got drums here, synth patches. You can hit a pad, maybe find out what's on that pad. I got drums here. I like this. I'll use that one. That's good. Right, I'll go further down now. and we have quantize type. Here, grid, I'm going to use 16th notes. Now you can also go to shuffle if you'd like to. And you can also go to template, where the MV800 gives you templates for specific styles of music. For example here, this is dance. It's template 1, that's 16 normal dance. C2, there's 16. We got heavy reggae here. So it gives you a template, which gives you groove patterns, which help you to shift that groove around to fit the type of music that you're going with. Here's pop. Here's rumba. You need to experiment, understand how templates work with your MV800, or even check out our video on going how to make a beat. We talk more about time shifting and quantizing. Okay, we've got this done. This is pretty cool. So I want to go to grid myself. Now, I'm almost ready to go. I'll press close. Got my sound picked out. Name my track. I'm going to do one more thing. We press record. Now here in record, we want to set the parameters up on how we want to record this information in our MV8800. Now I have overdub. That means we're going to record over what's already there and keep what's there. Now, if we go to replace, we record over what's there, but replace it totally. In this case, nothing's there. I'll use overdub 1. We have a 2-measure counting. The pattern is 2 measures, or 2 bars long. Loop is off. We're not doing auto punch. And we want to hear record this. In record, we want to hear this metronome. So in this record mode, we want to hear this click, click, click go by. Sort of the paces as we record our track. We're in grid quantize, which is perfect. I'll press close it and stop it. I want to do one more thing. Before I record, I'll make sure I fix velocity. So when I hit a note down, it's the same level each time. Turn it off. It depends on how hard I hit it to get the right level. I want to use fixed velocity. Now before I start recording, I'm going to make sure I'm at the top. Next I'll press record. Then I'll press play. I've got 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. And that's right. Now I want to add more tracks to this. I'll press menu. And now I can add more tracks. And you can see here in menu, we can choose add Midi Tracks. I'll press 2, press enter, and now I can add Midi Tracks. Now as we can see here as we zoom in, we have the ability to add more than one track. Here we can add, I think I'm going to add, let's say maybe 4 more tracks. They're going to be the same patch, see? It means the same output assigned. And my drums on it, so they'll all be MIDI drum tracks. Next, I'll name them after I add them in. But first, I'll press execute to get the tracks. And now, I have 4 more tracks in my sequence, as you can see right there. Next, I'll record more data to these tracks. Back at the top, I think I'll record the snare next. But first, I'll name the tracks. So once you name one, instead of closing the dialog box, I can go to my next track. See, the first one here is kick. This next one here is going to be my MIDI track number 4. I can go to name here and call this rim. rim track. Press enter. I've named that track. Now I'll name the rest of the tracks. Now that I have my tracks named, I'm going to add to the tracks. Now before I actually add to this track, or these patterns, and it's one pattern I add to this track, I'm going to press BPM. Now there we got BPM. Normally you could tap your BPM if you play the beat. In this case, I want to put it in. It's going to be 1, 1, 2. Press enter. We put our BPM in. Next, I'll press record. Back at the top. I already set my parameters in before, so it's good to go. Let's go. Now once you get all your tracks recorded in your pattern, you can name your tracks, or if you name your tracks, you're ready to go. And then you got your pattern all set up. We'll press top, press play. Got loop on. Good. Now once we have our data, we can even edit the data. We can press event list, F3. Now here in F3, we can see the events for any track we like. Here we're looking at the events in the kick drum track. We can create, erase, copy, paste, and view the. We can copy, we can go to F5, we can copy that particular information that's completed. We've copied it. We can find a spot to actually put it at. We can go to here and say, where we're going to put it at. We're going to find a space to paste. We can go to paste, and we can pick the event we want to paste it at. Here we can go, let's see. I could paste it in on 4. I go to 4. I go to execute, F5, and I've pasted in. Look at that. Something else there. At 2. See that? Put it right here. So we can actually do this. And we can press undo and undo it. So you can actually paste in a step mode where you're going here in events. We can actually paste something in and out on our sequence. We can also go to drum grid, press F5, and we can see our instruments here on the grid. See this here? We're on a grid here. Another one. This is where the kick drums are on this grid. On a 2-bar phrase, that's where the kick drums come in at. And we could look at them on the grid. Next, we'll go to song mode. We'll press song. And here, we'll see the same track. This is the song that's already in our MV8800, which is called Addiction. I can move my measure up and down. Press my measure button. I can see where I'm at in this track. I can start from 2, press play. So we've got other sounds coming in. And there are many more tracks here. So, once you get your sequence, you can actually also import sequences, or rather patterns, into a song if you'd like to, or just copy those tracks in. Now here what we're going to do, we can actually go back to the top, press top, we're back at the top of this sequence, and now I'm going to show you how we can make a new song. If you want to make a new song, you go to song menu, and we go to top here, and we press 4 for create a new song. Press enter. And we can select the parameters of the new song. Now here we have BPMs. We can set the BPMs of this particular track of a new song would be. We can also go down, select our time signature, 344. We can use the current song as a track layout. We can keep a very simple track layout. We can go with a MIDI sequencer, and 3, an audio recorder, or a basic track layout. And copy from current song, we can copy instruments and effects from our current song, if you want to use that. In this case, maybe no need to copy instruments or effects. And I'll press execute. It's processing. And now it's complete. Let's check it out. So here, as we can see, we have a brand new song. We have 8 audio tracks and 16 MIDI tracks. So you can start recording or taking other tracks and put them in here and make a brand new song. We also have, of course, a drum grid, if we want to use one. Now, once you get a song together, you got a song you like, you say it's good, and you want to mix it up, maybe mute some tracks in and out for the mix. Here's what we do. We press Shift, and then we press the pad bank. And now it takes each one of our tracks that we have in a song, and each pad corresponds to that track. We can turn the track on or turn it off. On or off. Let's do that. Now, we did it already. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at the monitor. Now, once I press that Shift and pad, we get this window right here. And in this window, what we can actually do is we can mute those tracks. Now watch, I'm going to press play. And I'm going to mute and turn tracks on and off in this mix. Now I'm trying track 9, 10, 11, 12. Hitting those pads. Back on. Now I'll press stop. As you can see, that was pretty cool. But sometimes you may have more than 16 tracks. So you can see here we have our track bank. See that right there? That says 1. I can go to 2. And we have more of the tracks we can turn off. I go to 3. Because there's no 3. So obviously we have approximately 32 tracks in this song that we're going to flip back and forth and turn off. And you can tell how many you've got, because you can go right here, and you'll see these are not grayed out, these are grayed out. So we know exactly how many tracks we can actually mute on and off in our mute track window. Now we can also solo. If you press F2, you can even solo a track. I can go back to the first window. And if I want, I can pick any track I want to solo. I'll press play from where we are. I'll press pad 1. And I'll press chorus. See that? And I can turn all solo off. So it gives you an idea. You can get an idea of how you want to mix your track, get a good feel for it. Before you want to record this mix. You know, now once you got your song set up, we got our tracks together, we're ready to roll, we may want to mute something. So we already pressed song, and we're in the song mode. We got this song that came with our MV800. It's a great practice song to show you some stuff from, because it's already there, and you can do it yourself as you watch us do it. Now check it out. Now what I want to do is I want to add some mutes to the beginning of this song. I want to put some mutes I think will be hipper than what I have already. What I want to do first of all is I want to make sure I got my track at the top. So I'll press top at the top of my track, obviously. Next, I'll press Shift, hold Shift down, and press pad. I press my pad banks button, and now we have this track mute, as you can see here. You already see one of the tracks already muted. Now, these track mutes correspond to the pads, our 1 through 16 pads we have in our velocity pad section. You can hit a pad, and then you turn it off or on. And the words mute appear there. Now you'll see a little bit more closer right now. And you see the word there, mute, in yellow. When the pad is on, there's no more mute there. We can also tell a difference between a vocal and a musical MIDI track. There are audio tracks. As you can see, here we have a MIDI track, MIDI keyboard. Here we have an audio phrase track right there. So the MIDI tracks have musical notation, and the little files, the wave files like, are right here. And you can see them. Okay, well now what I want to do is mute some tracks in the mix. I'll press record. And now here in record, of course, the metronome, we can hear the metronome. This is our recording parameter mute control section. I have a 2-bar, which is 2 measures. I count in. I have auto punch off. If I want to auto punch, I can auto punch, but at this point, I just want to go from the beginning on to a few tracks. What I could do, if I do want auto punch, I can go down here. I just want to do the first 8 tracks. So I want to end, I'm out at 9. Okay, we'll hear the record. We'll hear the metronome, that is, in record only. And then, of course, we got our input quantize, which in this case, I have no need to do. I want to make sure I just do it on feel. But if you do want to quantize, some of the best settings sometimes is going to be 1/20th. I'll do that for now. Now I'll close the window. And I'll press play to begin recording. That one out. Now I'll press stop. I'm back to the top again. And now I'm at the top. I'll press play. And see my automation go into effect. Now I'll press stop. And that's how you can record your automation. Now it's also important to make sure that when you do get to this automation window here for the track mute, you may want to press menu and make sure your track mute setup is on. I'll press select and you see it there. The mute control is on. I can turn it off and then I'll press exit to close that window. I'll press the top, turn the tracks off that I see muted already. Now, you can also have other banks muted. You may have more than, 16 tracks muted or 16 tracks in your song. These other 2 here are not grayed out. These 3 here. There's 2 more here and the first one I have here. This is our track bank. I'm on bank 1. Turn my data wheel. There's 2 and there's 3. So see there are like 2 other tracks here on this pad bank. On bank 2, I have a full 16, and on bank 1, a full 16. See that? A total of 34 tracks. See it right there? Great. So you check all your tracks, make sure you have everything off. Now I'll press play from the top. As you can see, all our mute data is off. Everything. It's not playing any mute data back. So it's important to make sure that when you're in this track mute section, you want to press Menu. Go to Track Mute Setup. Press Select. Turn it on. Press Exit. Back at the top of your song. And now whatever mutes that were recorded there previously, you will see. And you can actually fix and control those mutes. Or fix them where they are. Or make up all new mutes. Now to check the mute for each track, what you can do is we'll exit this and we'll go out a little bit here. And we're going to go to Menu. I'll go to Track Parameters. Now you see here I'm on track 4, which is Midi track. And this is track 4, you can see right there. Below that we have Mute Control. Move the cursor to Mute Control. And you can turn Mute Control on or off. There are different settings here. We have off and we have on. We have Mute Control on as a default. And Mute Control as on as a default. Or off as a default. Read your book along with our DVD to get a stronger understanding of this particular or any item in our track mute or any window. Now, if you go back up here to track mute, as you can see I muted off this track. I'll put it back on. We can go to any track you want to. See that? Just scroll down and you'll see which tracks have mute control on or off. So you can adjust the mute control for any track you want to. That's even cooler doing your mix. Now let's say, for example, you want to control the level of the audio of a particular track. And you want to record the automation into your MV8800. Here's how you do it. We go to Track Parameter. Make sure that's the track I want to use. That's good. It's my main vocal. I'll press close. Now, what I want to do next is I want to add a track. I go to my sequence, add track parameters, and here I want to add a MIDI track. So here I want to add a MIDI track, and that's Add MIDI Tracks. That's 3. I'll press Enter, and now I can add a MIDI track. Now the thing to do here, what I have to do here is I need to set this track up. So the first thing I need to do here is number tracks, just one track. Next I go to Output Assign. I want to assign this output to the actual audio track, which is right there, main. See that says main? A mix main. It's important to read the book to get more information about what I'm about to do. So I've got that. Next I want to name the track. It's always important to name the tracks when trying to do an automation mix. Here, I'll call it Mix. Track. I'll press Enter. Now, to execute, I'll press F5. And now, as you can probably see, it's added a new track right near the main. My mix track appears here. Next, you want to pull up our mixer. We'll press Mixer. And now that we're in Mixer, we'll move the cursor down. And we want to record to that particular main track. So I want to go to audio track, which is F1. And now, always make sure you're on the right track. That says main, so you want to be on the main. We'll move the cursor down. I want to move the first fader, fader number 1. Make sure I get the right level of this fader. So I'm going to make sure you got that fader right. So I'm moving it now and get the level I want to have when the track starts, right there. Next, I want to make sure I'm going to be at the right point when that track comes in. So we move our cursor over till we get to the right point where that track comes in. And I want to be at just about the beginning of it. Right here. Now I'll press play to find out. Okay, I'll move back again. Okay, that's where I want to be at. Next, what I want to do now is I can press record. I'm going to record in that mix track these volume levels. Make sure my fader moves up and down. I'm good to go. Now I'll press record. My parameters are right. And I'll press play. I'm moving up and down. See that? I'll press stop. Move back up to where I was at originally and press play. See it moving? So you can actually record these levels in your mix. And if you don't like it, you can press undo and you're back where you started. So sometimes you want effects on the track, maybe some delay or something, or a reverb, even a chorus. I'll press effects. And here we have our effects menu, as you can see. I can select an effect. Here I have a chorus. I can go and get me a delay if I'd like to. But in order I need to hit library to do that. So I'll press F3. I'll find a delay. Take my first delay here. Use this. Press F5. Of course I want to use that one right there. Now, this one might work out pretty good. We showed you earlier we have our 3 C buttons to control our effects. Got an effect here. I'll press exit. And now I'll press mixer again. And make sure I'm in the audio track. There I am right there. I can move my cursor up or down here. I can play the track from where I'm at. Let me go back further. Here. Hear that? We've got a little, maybe a lot actually, a lot of delay in that one track. I can add some reverb too. Let me go down here. The effect is already there. I just need to turn this send up. What this does, it sends the reverb into this one main track for the main vocal, which is right here. And now, I'll move it back again. So the vocal starts. You've got to adjust your levels and listen back to how the reverb sounds. Never add too much reverb or too much echo or delay. Just enough to give it that flavor where it lifts it off the track. And once you've recorded your song, you've got your mute recorded, you've got your levels right, or how you want stuff in, take stuff in and out, you want to probably save the data. And always save your data. Well, we'll press project, and we'll scroll down here to 4, which is save project. We'll press enter, and save current project. We'll say yes. Now, if you've already saved the project, it'll recognize it, and then resave it right back on the hard drive in the same place it was at before. because it'll have the same name, so it'll know it's not a new project. And it'll save it right there for you. So always remember to keep saving your data so you don't lose anything that you've recorded. It's very important. Okay, we got our MV8800, and what I want to do next is I want to add some memory to my machine. I've got some memory that we sell here from our website, always packaged up neatly, and we're going to store some memory, extra memory, and increase the amount of memory we're going to have on our MV8800. We're going to max it out. So, let's turn it over first. Now it's important to follow the directions that's on the back of the book or in the book under expanding your memory. You have to take out the screws that you're told to take out. So let me see here now. I have to leave this screw in, that screw stays in, this screw stays in, this one screw stays in. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Those 4 screws stay in, and I have 16 other screws to take out. I'll start with this one first. Pretty simple. Oh, good. Excellent. That's 5. 6. Okay, and then this is 15 and 16. Oops, get the last one out of here. Okay. Okay, and there we go. Okay. So now I'm going to take this out and put in my new memory. Let's make sure I'm grounded. I'm going to make sure we don't cause any shocks to happen. So make sure I'm grounded. Make sure I'm clean, of course. And next I'll pull out this here memory out of here. Great. Got some brand new memory. And we'll install this and increase the amount of memory that we've got. Okay. Now this is 512, it's going to be the maximum. That's 512 right there. So, this right here. And next, I'm grounded. And this popped right out. See that? This popped out of there? And this is the original memory that came with our machine there. Okay. Now, we want to increase our memory. Match up, and we're good to go. So now, I'm going to put it right here in the slot. Right there, my slot. This one's firmly in. Oops, let me get started. It's in the slot. It's important to make sure you're in the slot. And all we do is we just push down. See? We gotta be in that slot. There we go. And now we're firmly in the slot with our new memory. That's 512, as I said before. As you can see, it slips right in there. And now, I'm going to cover it back up. I'm going to pull these screws back on. All 16 of them. So, here we go. Now I have to make sure my holes are lined up properly whenever doing this on any machine. So I start with my first hole over there, and my next one's right here. So I'll do this one this way. The further they're apart and they're lined up, they'll line up everywhere else, like in the center and every place else. So I'll just start making sure that the first one's apart and I can see all the holes lined up. Now the holes are lined up, I'm getting ready to put the rest of the screws back in and check the memory. Okay, now put my last screw in. And check to make sure my screws are in tight enough. I think I didn't do this one enough. Always check to make sure now. Make sure we don't miss a single trick here. We don't want anything to happen or something to get up in our machine. I'm going to make sure everything's just right. Well, I checked all my screws and they seem to be in perfect condition. Now we'll flip it over and check the memory. Okay, now I'm good to go. I'll put my power cord back in. So we did flip it over without the cord in there. Make sure our power's off. Power it up. And now we're going to check for the memory to make sure it's installed properly. Okay, now we're loaded up. To check my memory, I'm going to press System. Next. Now after pressing System, we have this screen here. And we want to be in right here. System info. So I'll press F5. Okay. Now, my next choice is dim diagnostic. That's F1. Now it says, with diagnosis, samples on the wave memory will be lost. So look, if I do this, I'm going to lose samples. Well, I have no samples I'm trying to save, so I'll press do it, yes. And now it's processing. It's going to check my memory. And I put 512 meg in there, so it should be good to go. And it'll be the maximum amount of memory allowed with our MV8800. We can actually see it. It's still testing. We can see our memory right here. It says dim size 512. And it's checking. Still checking. Okay, it's almost done. Memory okay. We're good to go. Okay, memory's good. Well, now I'll press F5. It says close. We'll close it. That's good. We can go back to Mixer. I can just go back to my main screen right there. Press exit. Okay, now I got my track mixed up. I'm ready to go. Got my mute control, a few levels done, the vocals here and there. I've got some sort of a little delay, a little reverb going on. I'm going to turn back some of this echo here, this little delay, and bring down some of my reverb, my main vocal. I'll close the window. And what I'll do now is I want to mix down this track. That means I want to make a file of it. Something I can go to mastering with. Let's do that next. Okay. Okay, now we're going to mix down. We'll press mastering. We have 4 options here. Mix down mode, mastering, create audio CD, audio file list. I think I'll do mix down. That's what I want to do, right? So I'll press 1, enter, and we're right there. Enter mix down mode. That's the option we got right there. I want to enter that mode now. Let's get there. So I'll press F5 for yes. And here I'm in this mix down mode. Well, I want to press record. Now here in record, as you can see, we have this mix down file name. So I want to name this file that I want to mix down. Okay, I'm going to go here and give it a name. Or this is addiction mix. I want to call it 1. Okay, next. I'll press OK, F5. Now see, that name already exists. I practiced a couple times before we actually going to do this video, of course. I wanted to show you this also. This way, in case you want to write over a mix, you can. Or write over any name that might be in the memory of something you want to save. That name already exists. Overwrite, I'll press yes, meaning F5. And now, I'm ready to mix down. So I'm going to do right now, I'm going to get ready and mix my tracks. With already mixed up, so I'm going to mix it down. It's important, though, to do one thing. Make sure your VU, or excuse me, your master knob is all the way to max. That knob must be at max to get the maximum level out. Let me show you that. Now to get the maximum, the best level, we're going to turn this knob right here all the way up to max. See that? That's important. So if you got speakers, cut them off or something, don't even use them. We're going to get the maximum level possible on this mix here. Next, what we're going to do, we'll see right here, I've got it set to go. Okay? I'll just press play and it'll start playing from the top. And now it's mixing what we have to call a bounce down. And so it's bouncing down now, directly back to the tracks. Let me go right back here to our screen, and you'll see it's mixing down. Now we don't hear anything, of course, because, as you know, I turned the auto off, so we don't have anything to hear from. There's no playback. Right there we go. So I get my image correct. And now, when it gets to the end of the song, I will stop it, and we'll take it from there. Okay, now it's getting to the end. We're at the end here. That last line goes by, I'll press stop. And see, it says mix down finish. Go to mastering. I can press yes. Or I can press no, or exit mix down. I'll press exit mix down. Okay, we got our mix going on, it's good. Now I want to make sure right now that I bring my master volume back down to a level I like to have it at. It's important, because we turned it all the way up to get this mix down into the MB88's mix down folder. Next, you want to load up that file and check out mastering that file. Let's do that next. Okay, now I got my file. We're going to master it up. First what I'm going to do is I'll press mastering. Go to my next option, which is mastering, which is 2. I'll press 2. And here we are. Now we can select the file that we would like to master. And you can see it better right now. These are the files I have right here. I'll move the cursor down. That's the file I just put together. I'll press execute. F5. And now we have our mastering tool, as you can see, obviously. Now here in our mastering tool, we can pick several different mixdown options. So what I'm going to do right now, I probably want to select the tool from the library. So right here we have the MTK library, our mastering tool. So we'll go here and press MTK, and we have several names you can see here, which are mastering tools we can use to master the project up. Now mastering gives it a real nice level where we get a lot of the normal. It brings stuff down, it's too loud, and sometimes you can change the EQ, add more bass, some frequency. As you can see here, as these parameters go by, we have approximately, wow, we've got 26 P's and 49 or 50 U's. See that, U's? These are using this presets. These are users and presets, I believe. That's pretty good. We got about 26, about 76 different presets in our library we can actually use. Now in this case, I'm going to just use, let's see, I want to go to dance maybe. I'll say dance. And it says use this. That option is F5. I'll press use this. And now I can use that. Now, I can press play. And what will happen here, or what should happen here, the files start playing. As you can see, it's playing. And what I want to do is get my levels just right. I'll press stop first. Then I want to make sure that I turn my master volume down to the minimum. And then bring it up so I do not blow the speakers, since I did turn them all the way up when I did the mix down. That's very important to do. Be aware of that. Okay, so I got my speakers up, I'm ready to roll here, got my speakers ready to go. And now you may notice even in your speaker system you may have a little more noise to it. It's probably part of what happens during the mastering, where levels are brought up more and it's pretty loud in terms of the mastering effect itself, and this particular master plugin, I call it, that's on this MV8800. Now, I'll press play. I can actually reset my peaks first there. As you can see, there's some there from previous. And now I'll press play. Of course, I hit the top first. And now we got, see these levels here? We're there, some levels are pretty good there, not too bad. And this is called the dance mix preset I got right here. This is our in and the out. That may sound a little bassy for me. So what I could do sometimes is go to the library and scroll down to something I like. Let's see. I'll try this pop one. I'll say use this. This is walk. See the difference? And you can always notice the difference actually with a lot of the different presets right there. Turn it down a little bit. Now, I'm going to play it and pick another preset I might like. So we don't want to get where it goes past this clipping point. I'm going to make sure right here is going to get too loud. So listen back to your mix down and make sure you get within these parameters. But we do not want to clip anything. Okay, I'll press MTK Library again. I think I'll select another mix down preset. Oh, I like this one here. Let's try to boost the bottom, the bassy sound. Use this. Now it sounds a little more bassy to me. This might be cool, a little bit of a hip-hop kind of flavor I might want to get in something. I want a darker sound, the mix is a little darker, I need to bring the bass up more. But the cool thing here is you're able to at least hear back the mix down and adjust it for a final mix. Once you get the right one, it's time to master. So I'm going to pick the one I like the best. I'll go to the MTK Library again. And the one I like the best is the pop one for this song. For now, I'll use the pop one. Go to pop, I'll press use this. And hear the difference. And see how levels are good so far. I like the levels anyway. So now, this is going to work since I already did tests before I did the video shoot. I'll press stop. And next, what I want to do is, I think I'm ready to master, so I'll press top, and we'll press record. And see now, before it said mix, now it says master. That says addiction MA, that means master 00. I'll say yes, I want to call it that. Now you're going to make sure you have the right name for it, because it's going to appear back in that mix down folder. That folder will have mixes and mix downs also, and masters. We'll have masters rather and mix downs. MA is for masters, MIX for mixes. Make sure you know what you're mixing down and call it what it is, so you don't get confused when you actually make your final CD. Okay, now I'll press OK. The name's good to me. I'm ready to go. I'll press play, and then I'll do it from the top. It's making a WAV file. See it? Right here it says WAV. Addiction mix WAV file. It's taking that WAV file, it's playing it back, and it's going to make that WAV file into my master.wav file. Which will be addiction MA00.wave. Now when it's done, I'll come right back. So now it's getting here to the end. That's the end of our track. And you see the numbers still going by there. And so, yep, it's finished. See? It says finished. Mastering, finished. Go to CD burning? No. Okay, the reason I want to say no is because I want to show you, of course, obviously, that we have to go to the next window. So, this is a video, and we got to do it like a video, of course, and now we'll do it like a video. Okay, so we'll exit, press exit, and now we want to make a CD. Yes, we want to press mastering again. Now, go down here, create audio CD. I think so. We'll press number 3. And now, we'll press enter. Insert a blank CD, so I gotta get a blank one. I'll be right back. Okay, got my blank CD. I'm gonna pop it in here. Make sure it's in there right. And I'm good to go. Oops. Alright, now we're good to go. Insert a blank CD, so now it's waiting to see it. And once it does, it'll say, okay, we're ready to go. So hope it does. So now it's spinning and spinning and spinning and recognizing the CD. Okay. Good. Okay, so now it's checking our disc to make sure our disc is cool. It's checking the disc. And once it does, we're ready to go. Okay, I had a DVD before, now I got a CD. It's humming now, I hear it whispering. And here's our window. This is pretty cool. Nothing's in it. Okay, this is obvious. We're going to burn a CD. We need WAV files to burn a CD with, right? Okay, let's insert. And there's our file in the mastering folder. This is cool. Now if you had several files in here, we would take the files and put them in here. I want to say something that's very important right now. You need to know this. When mixing down, adjust your mix. One mix is in final. I can turn my vocals up 2 dB or down 2 dB for each mix. That means one mix will be regular, where I think it should be at. The next mix will be, it'll be up maybe 2 or 1 dB. The next mix, it'll be down 2 dB. Make sure my drums are right. I may do the same with my drums a little bit. I may do 8 different mixes. Listen to them all and see which one's going to be the best, or see what I want to adjust on each mix before I make a final. So it's always good to listen back, get a good mix, make sure you get the right one you want to get, because once you do it and you like it, you can listen to it forever. And everyone who hears it will say, hey, it sounds good. So I can press execute, or listen, don't do listen. And if you do listen, you'll notice you have to turn your master volume all the way up to listen back. So you may want to listen to the mastering first. Remember, we didn't hear it when it went down. I have to listen to it first, get an idea if you like it or not. That's important. I'll press close the window. When we're ready, we press execute, and then we're making our CD. You press execute, it sees it, and now, when you're ready, we press write CD, which is F5. And ready to go, it'll write and burn your CD. Okay, now once that's done, you want to press disk. Your option is 4 for CD player. You can press enter here. And then you may want to insert your CD, or to see the tracks, insert it in here, and you can play back the tracks right here on our MV8800. It's that easy.